Let's talk now to the Junior Minister at the Department of Finance, and that is Jennifer Carroll McNeill. A very good afternoon to you, Jennifer Carroll McNeill, and thank you for talking to us on the programme this afternoon.
Good afternoon from Skibbereen.
So I think yesterday when you were talking about Leo Varadkar's resignation, you were saying that you hadn't thought about the leadership question at that point, whether you yourself might be a candidate or indeed who you would support. Having had time to reflect overnight and hearing what's been coming in over the last number of hours in relation to the support, it seems, for Simon Harris, what are you saying today?
Yeah, yesterday was about Leo and paying respect to him and his contribution to public life. And today is about the future within Fine Gael, and I'm backing Simon Harris fully for the leadership of Fine Gael. Would
you expect that he will be the sole candidate?
At this point, I think it probably will be. I think we've had a good reflection. I mean, this morning I've had the opportunity to speak to Simon about his vision for the country. It's one that I share in terms of equality of opportunity, the development of the state, sharing the surplus that we have to every corner of this state. I think it's he and I have worked together on a range of different projects, and I've always found him to be totally committed to the values of real equality of opportunity and delivery. And I've seen that working with him, for example, on making sure that people with intellectual disabilities have real access to third level education. That's something that I brought to him at an early stage in this Dáil. He worked on it assiduously for 2 years and he delivered it within the universities, and that is work that's ongoing. And I was really thankful to him for that engagement, both on a policy level but just in terms of delivery, and it reflects the values that I have and the belief that I have in this country, and I want to see that continue.
More than a few Fine Gael TDs though were saying that they would welcome a contest because it would, if you like, I suppose, engage the membership in this whole process. And people pointed to what happened in 2017 when it was felt that the contest between Leo Varadkar and Simon Coveney had energised or re-energised the party. Is it a missed opportunity now if there's not to be a contest?
I think that's important, and I think that is very important. I think this, on the other hand, though, we have a local and European election very, very soon, and I'm very conscious of the many, many councillors, hundreds of councillors and candidates that we have around the country who will want to be able to clearly say who the leader of the party is and not be in difficulties answering that question. And I think that's a slightly different context this time. For me, it's a shadow too early in my personal life and in my political life to consider it really fully at this stage. But I think, as Heather Humphrey said, that Fine Gael will have a female leader, will have a female Fine Gael Taoiseach, and that's a really important part of the dynamic. That is something that could have been teased through in a contest. But I think really the most important thing is having clarity for the many, many people who are running in the local and European elections, to have clarity at this point in the government cycle as well. We are a democratic institution. I've certainly taken time this morning to speak with councillors in my area, with members in my area, to get their perspective and to reflect that perspective back to Simon Harris. It's important to me that he engages with the membership, and I think he has been very, very clear that that's what he wants to do now over the next period, if it is him who comes through today. But I think it probably will be, and I think he has an opportunity over the next 2 weeks to sit down and engage with members all over the country and to get their perspective on how he should take this forward. And Fine Gael is a broad church of membership.
Is it not a sorry comment on the state of the party that of those several Fine Gael cabinet members, there's only one, it seems, who's willing to put himself forward for this job?
Well, I'm not sure, because as I said, the context is very important. The last time, as you said, in 2017, there was a different lead-in. You had a Taoiseach who had announced a resignation over time. This has happened rather suddenly, and there are important democratic elections on the 7th of June in the local and European elections. Those democratic processes are very, very important. And as one of the leading parties in the state, it's important that there be a leader who can able to support the candidates up and down the country and be able to lead the party through what are very, very important democratic processes, particularly at the moment in relation to Europe and the volatility that we have in Europe. Fine Gael has always provided stability and a measure of certainty in Irish politics, and I think that having clarity today is a measure towards that. We're at a different context, a different time. Perhaps the timing wouldn't be quite as important.
On the other hand, councillors, and we'll be hearing from one of them shortly, councillors and ordinary party members around the country might look at this and say, this is a stitch-up.
Well, I'm not sure. I've spoken to a number of different councillors. They've given me their view that they would like to have a clarity in relation to this, that they would like to have, that this is a different context. I think, Fine Gael is a very democratic process, but we are literally 79, 78 days away from important elections that only come once every 5 years. And there has to be, the best foot forward from every political party in relation to that, in order to give people the best opportunity to interrogate policy rather than personality. And I think that clarity today within the Fine Gael party enables us to go out now and talk about the things that matter to people in their lives, and how Fine Gael is going to deliver that as a party, rather than being distracted by something that is just too close to local and European
Leo
elections.
Varadkar said he wasn't the leader to take Fine Gael into those elections and the general election beyond that within the next year. Why is Simon Harris the person who can provide that leadership?
Well, I think Simon Harris has this, as I said to you, this vision for Ireland that is about equality of opportunity. I have seen him over many years, from a policy perspective, be very serious about that, through his work on apprenticeships, through his work on access to people to third level with intellectual disability. Like, I'm not here to talk about his personality, or I know there's been lots of chat about that. I'm interested in delivery. I'm interested in what's going to happen for people that's different. And I look at the apprenticeship programme and how that's been developed and how we can go further on it. And to me, that is a meaningful difference in getting people to work in new jobs, in high value jobs, and meeting the needs of the labour shortages that we have in this economy and in this society.
You mentioned the question there, perhaps at some point in the future, of having a Fine Gael, a woman leader of Fine Gael, and a woman Taoiseach perhaps provided by Fine Gael. At this point, would you like to see a woman deputy leader appointed by Simon Harris if he gets the job?
I think that would be a very good idea by Simon Harris, but whether that's a matter for him, that's a matter for his choice, as is all other things. But I really do think that women need to be at the front of every political party. With we have had for too long too few women in Dáil Éireann, too few women at the front of all of the conversations, particularly the economic conversations. I'm not just saying this today new. I've said this everywhere, particularly as a minister in the Department of Finance, working on the Women for Finance Charter for so very long. I think it's really important that women's voices are heard loud and proud in every corner of Irish representative democracy.
Minister Jennifer Carroll McNeill, thanks for talking to us on the programme. Well, let's stay with all this, because we're joined